In today's marketplace, one of the most important tools for marketing and promoting your record is going to be your music video.
I think videos have become really important because the music business increasingly has become a sort of visually led medium, and so an artist just has to have a good image as well as a good sound, and obviously the image is created mainly in their music video, and that's the main place people see it, and so it's important that's tight. Otherwise, you know, they ain't going to put across their kind of image message.
The most common problem with trying to get a video made is money. Without a shadow of a doubt. It's like, if your average budget is, 20 grand, there's only a certain amount of pool of talent you can kind of dip into, because they're generally developing directors that may or may not have a production company, may or may not have avenues to kind of make that 20 grand work for themselves, and others can. So yeah, it's hard.
I guess the three most important things you need in making a music video would be a good idea, a good song, and a good performer.
People come up to me with $2 back in the day and say, yeah, I want something like hype within the video. And you can't if you got $2, bro. Give me 200,000, I'll give you something like that. See what I mean? So with budget, you have to be realistic about what you can film with. There's crew, there's camera equipment, there's food, there's travel expenses. So you have to be very smart on how to use it. And it's really, I would say, get a producer. Get a really good producer that knows how to handle money and how to save money at the same time, so everyone gets paid rightly and correctly. And maybe you have to put money aside as well for the post-production as well. So you have to be really smart how to handle money. That's what I would say. Just don't spend it all on just equipment. There's other stuff apart from equipment that is very important with shooting a video.
I was pretty lucky, and the first video I made was for someone who already had a record deal, and that budget was £25,000. And at the time when I got that, I was over the moon and couldn't quite understand where it was all going to get spent. And as you work through the industry, you soon learn where it all gets spent, and you try to make sure it doesn't get wasted. And sometimes you end up seeing a video or finishing a production experience and sort of feeling like, perhaps the money wasn't spent the best, but as you get more experienced, that's what you learn to avoid. And more recently, the biggest videos I've done are just under $1 million, basically, because that's as good as it gets at the moment. And I think it is true to say if you can't make a decent video for that, then you should probably be doing something else.
Budget's crucial to kind of everything. And more so in our world, it's like it's a small department in that, you can turn something in that costs $2 grand, you can turn something in that costs 100 grand, and people you're showing it to may not recognise what the difference in the look is, but you've got, underpinning every single thing that you do, regardless of whether you've got 10 grand or 100 grand, it should be the idea. So I've always said that regardless of what you've got, if you can hand draw your idea and animate it and take stills of it, you can make a video. It doesn't have to be cars and girls and on top of the Eiffel Tower. It's just, the right kind of idea can get across. So in mine personally, I mean, all the budgets are small now, which don't help, but at the same time, videos they're still going to get made, and they're still going to get made, and good ones are going to get made, and bad ones are going to get made, regardless of the kind of money. Because the promo industry's worked notoriously, or historically on favours from everyone, from crew, from suppliers, from camera places to lighting companies, to film stock. So everything's a borrow, really. So it needs to be creatively fulfilling for who's making the things first of all, But the budget, it's crucial, because you can only afford what you can afford, and if you want Jake Nargin and you've got a fiver, you're not going to do very well.
Where all the money goes really depends on the type of video you're making. And if you're doing a video for a female artist who wants to look really good and maybe isn't a model or isn't as good looking as a model, probably a lot of money will be spent on her hairdresser and her makeup artist. Probably a lot of money will be spent painting or airbrushing her shots afterwards, and a hell of a lot of money will be spent on her clothes, because the whole thing with videos is about image and identity and style and setting trends and giving the kids something to get excited about. And a lot of that is about glamour and fashion. So certainly in big American videos, a hell of a lot of money gets spent on what's called the glamour department. Equally or differently, if you're trying to make a sort of interesting indie video in England which stands out, then you may choose to spend a lot of money on special effects so that you create some sort of thing on the screen which people haven't seen before. So it basically depends on the kind of video you're doing, and the smart thing is to work out, you know, what are the kind of priorities in terms of the finished video, and then you'll feel better about where the money's getting spent.
Basic for me, what I need the artist to be is very charismatic, very confident with the camera, you know, hold himself well, you know, kind of not articulate, but you know, his vocal range, so we could kind of see him spit really loudly. So when I do a take, I'll make sure that he spits, actually, not mime it, because that's all wrong. He's got to actually say it on the take. Even though we don't take, you know, actual sound, I want him to feel it, and you know, I want the artist to really be enthusiastic and jumpy and just constantly with like high energy and really happy on the day. I don't like people like, you know, mopey and disappointed every day, so
I think what I want from an artist on a shoot is for them to be as on their game as I am, and really just show up ready to work and ready to put everything that they can into the job, because that's my attitude. And so I feel a little bit let down if they haven't got that same attitude, especially as they're due to make more money out of it than I ever will. It's kind of like, well, hang on a sec, you know, if we've all been preparing for this moment, you know, have you? And so when you feel like they are really stressed out about, you know, their emotional state or their appearance, you kind of wish that they'd done more to prepare themselves for it mentally or physically. Or when you feel like they're not really ready to sort of do their dance routine or do their performance like to the best of their ability, which is all you can expect, that's when you feel a little bit like, I could have expected a bit more. I think the pleasure that I've had in transitioning to the American market is that when you work with people like Beyonce or Usher, you are definitely getting people who are as on their game, if not much more than me, because they really are, you know, the best performers in the world, whether you like their music or not. And so that's when I've felt like my videos have started to go into their own, is when I've sort of like been met by a kind of performance force that is as strong as my directing force.
No, I think if you're a new artist, you know, our first port of call if we have a new artist is I straight away plunder their mates that went to our school, plunder their photography mates there, you know, because ultimately you got bands turn up, like we had Half-By turn up and they'd made a video for like 150 quid, and it's brilliant. It's, you know, it's a really fun sort of heist kind of thing, and fits them perfectly. And was, you know, from a friend, school friend of theirs, a director, the band used to make music for his films, and he'd make films. Straight away it's just like, where do we go? Right, great, you know, already someone's in the mindset of what this band's about, what they've been doing for years to try and work on, and it's up to me to, if they're experienced in making films or not, sort of guide them through what it's like to work with a record company, and you know, and to sort of take care of other things for them that can make a job that they're about to do on $5,000 easier. So, you know, again, it's like, if you haven't got friends like that and you're a new band, you know, the best thing you can possibly do is just have an idea, have a good idea, and like get it out somehow. Just use a DV camera, animate it, make it on your computer, whatever, you know, as long as the message you're giving is something different, and you know, not a borrowed idea or saying that says a lot about the band and the music is what you need.
The key factor that makes me want to work with an artist is, you know, is a kind of sincerity and kind of integrity in their performance and in their music. So when you feel like they really are what they aim to be, then you know you're not going to have to try and lie through your video to the audience. And you know, Usher clearly is himself, whether you like it or not, and equally fucking Nirvana clearly were themselves. So, you know, it's about really like you just kind of thinking, yeah, this person is comfortable with the image and the sound that they're putting forward, and it's not like some silly pop band trying to be a kind of real hardcore heavy metal thing, or you know, a really kind of like out there crazy kind of experimental artist trying to do a commercial song. You know, you just sort of feel like there's something that works about them, that means that you won't need to come in and kind of stamp on them some sort of authenticity or believability, which is something that you do have to do sometimes in a video, and sometimes it's what people really want you to do, and sometimes it can work, but sometimes people just smell the fraud and your work looks bad for it. So I'd say the main thing I look for in an artist is authenticity.
The number of scripts we'll get in for each video varies. A lot of the time, I mean, we're pretty tight here in that we know a direction, we know what we want to do, we know roughly who's going to do it and how it's going to kind of turn out. So sometimes if it's something that you haven't quite got, you know, got a clue on, or a direction, you need inspiration so you can put it out to I mean, normally an average figure is like 5 directors, and you kind of work back from there, because sometimes you'll get an idea straight away that you want to do, sometimes 5 will come back and they'll be all off the mark, so you kind of go back again. But you know, generally I think we know how it's going to end up, so you can kind of control how many people are writing, I guess. I mean, the general schedule for making music videos varies, because you may have just, you know, had one single in mind for a month that you're working on, and another track comes in from the studio where the band are recording, and it's like, then we're going to change this single, so what turning from a month's run up can be like a week's run up. So ideally, you know, you get your track and you put it out to production companies and directors, and you can, you know, give it however long you can to get them to come up with an idea and write back in, and you know you've got 5 ideas sitting there that you need to think about. There'll be one you want to make, and there'll be others that other people want to make, so you need to, and the kind of period of negotiation over what you want to do and what other people might want to do is difficult, but there's many different ways of doing it. You know, someone can be a production company where you're going to get a great look but look very little, or you go to a very narrative place and you'll get a great kind of story for your money, you know. So there's a lot of ways of weighing it up, you know, but like I said earlier, it's like, you know, you sort of should know what you want to do before it goes out. Ideally, you want your videos kind of 8 to 6 weeks up front of your release date. You know, ideally, that's enough time to get on playlists and to be considered, or if it's a busy week, you know, go on or off. So you want to give it as much time as possible to breathe, basically, and also you can give it, you know, you can do exclusives if you put it up front with, you know, digital stations or channels rather, and phone companies and whatever, you know. Videos get paid 50-50 between the artist and the record company, so is, you know, it's a 50% recoverable cost, so which never seems to trouble the bands too much, which I've never understood, but you know, hey ho. So yeah, if you've got a £100 video, it's costing us 50, and they're going to hopefully recoup 50, but it remains to be seen sometimes.
Expect the worst in videos that they don't really come out how you think they're gonna come out, and you have to realise all these videos that you see and like, they've got budgets like beyond what you can ever have. Like when I go into do videos, I say like, I have my own ideas, and I give references of what videos I like. I might say like Jay-Z 99 Problems, and they say yeah, make it look like that, and they don't like. But videos, I think you just have to take it for what it is, innit? Just like, it's just there to promote the song on TV. Really, I don't think it's a big thing. Like, I think it's a big thing, but most of the time it don't come out right. It don't come out right. Sometimes a cheap video can be the most effective video, and I think you just gotta be creative with it rather than spending the money.
Boy, I've made I think I've done 11 videos now, something like that, and I'm gonna be real, they are hard, they are not, some of them are fun, but they are very long, very, very long, so more time you're just like, boy, it's what I would say, if you're gonna make a video, make sure you get a lot of sleep the night before, take a packed lunch, make sure you eat, and try and enjoy yourself really. Like your first few ones, you enjoy yourself, but they are very long, like 24 hours, 15 hours, like non-stop working, you know what I mean? It's a lot of hard work, so I just say people, be prepared, man. It's not a stroll in the park. When you see us on the TV, just know how much hard work that took. That 3-minute video took 2 days. You know what I mean? It's a lot of hard work.
It's always fun when you're choosing the dancers. That's what I learned. Nah, but making a video.
Be strong at the auditions for that too.
We
it's hard.
Our first video was like 2,500, and then it ended up with like over 100 grand video. So, but again, and we can look back and say that the 2.5 grand video is our favourite video.
Best. The first one.
The Little Bit of Luck video was our most, and everyone says it now. Oh, that split screen wicked, and it was the best video. So again, it's not always about the money.
Hours and hours and hours of running, painful and everything. 3 o'clock in the morning, but it was the best.
Nah, my next video is gonna be proper, because I've also learned. See, when I was young, I used to dance in it, and so now, like, I know what a music video is. It's not just standing up in there. It's more. It's like acting. It's like the person with the most energy, visually, drama, like that, who puts themselves across is the winner. That is who the winner is, and I can do that, but I just never have tried because I've been scared and whatnot. But now I'm not saying I'm gonna go out there and do routines, but I just know what it's about now, and it's not just about standing up stiff. I don't even want no one in my video who's standing up looking. I don't want them. I want people who are participating in the video. You know what I'm saying, innit?
Videos were not really my strong point. They were not really creatively. I loved everything that went into making a video, i.e. thinking up the concept, you know, whether it was me and my people thinking up a concept and taking it to the director, or the director coming to us with a concept and then we work it out together. Either way, I enjoyed all the behind the scenes work, but when it actually came to the day of shooting the video, that was another story. It's really hard work. Like, you're there until it's done. And it don't get me wrong, for some artists, they love it because, you know, that's their thing. They're in front of the camera, that's what they thrive on. For me, that's just not my thing at all. So, I mean, I had the opportunity to work with a great director, and he did make me feel a lot more comfortable in front of the camera than I probably ever felt. But now, looking at it now, I feel a lot more confident. I feel like I know what I want. I know how I want it to look. I know that however I act on that day is what's gonna go out, you know, and that's how it's gonna stay forever, and that's just it. So I might as well give it my all. Whereas then I was like, oh God, how do I look? I can't do this. Everybody's watching me. Like, there was just so many other things going on. And when I watch the videos now, I can see what I'm thinking. Do you get what I'm saying? I feel like on that day of your video, whether it's low budget, whether it's a big budget, regardless, you've got to give it your all, because whatever you do on that day, that's it, and it's going out, people are gonna see it, and you know, you might as well, basically, you just got to give it your all, put your all into it.
So with that in mind, let's go hang out with Miss Dynamite on the video shoot for her single Judgment Day.
Hi, I'm Miss Dynamite and you're at my video shoot for Judgment Day, my first single off of my album Judgment Day.
How could you reach a woman till you see tears? Got your children living in fear. How you gonna wash the blood from your hands? Selling death to fiends, barely 15, so you can rap around pushing the whip of your dreams. Damn it, how you gonna wash the blood from your hands? You claim to do it.
The concept behind the video is hands, is basically hands. One of the main themes that runs through the song is how you're gonna wash the blood from your hands. I didn't want to make a video that was too literal, like just scenes that went with everything that was being said in the song, because I do acknowledge that a lot of the content is quite serious, very to the point, and to some people it's going to be kind of shocking in certain places.
What's he calls for you? Where you gonna hide? The day he says for you, and he questions you.
How it usually works, or how it works with kind of
the stuff on the last album is that we'd put the single out there, like give it to different directors, and they'd write up a treatment, and we'd get it back. I'd look through it, find the one that I'm most happy with or whatever, and just add my bits to it, you know, and change bits here and there. Whereas with this one, I already kind of had my idea, and it was more of a case of finding the right person to project the idea and also put their input into it as well, don't get me wrong. But generally, like, I had every kind of scene and whatnot. We found Giuseppe, who I think is like amazing, and instantly got the concept, came back to me with loads of ideas that I really liked. Basically, the minimum you're gonna be, you will pay for half of your video, like as an artist, as far as I know. And anyone who isn't paying for half of their video, I want to know them and I want to know how they did that. Yeah, it's just one of them things, like at the end of the day, but I think it's good because it lets me look at it like I'm paying for this. So if there was ever a time where I felt like, well, you know, maybe I shouldn't, you know, for other artists out there as well, maybe I shouldn't say that I'm not really feeling that, or I don't really, yes, I'm paying for it, so let me speak up and let me have it the way I want it. So that's my bit for the day. I'm done now. Well, I'm done here, going off to the studio. Thanks for watching. Watch out for the video, Judgment Day, album, Judgment Days. So yeah.
While you're working on your video, your press officer will be starting work on your press campaign.